Hey everybody, this is Kevin Cooley. Welcome to A Life That Works. I'm thrilled to be with you today, and I have an amazing guest. Actually, I have a couple of guests, and we're going to talk about generational diversity in the workplace and in church. All right, but hey, listen, we don't know everything, but we have learned a few things that are helping us to live a life that works, or what Jesus said. He said, abundant life. That's why Jesus came, to give us life and life more abundantly. Of course, you can't have that without a relationship with God. So we are unapologetically Christ followers, but at the same time, we want to share some stuff, some principles with you that will help you to advance, to move forward, to do better, to live a life that works. Nobody wants to live a dysfunctional life. I know you don't. So thanks for tuning in, and please comment, like, subscribe, and all that fun stuff, and especially share. All right, so I'm here today with my associate pastor, our small group pastor, Michael Moore. Welcome to the podcast, Mike.
Thank you very much. Great to be here. I'm excited about this.
Yeah, man. This is your first appearance with us.
First time.
Though you've been around our church for decades.
A number of years. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we have a unique situation on our staff where we have 4 generations represented. We have you as a baby boomer.
Mm-hmm.
I know you don't look it, but you just hit the big 70 mark.
Yes.
70. You're the youngest 70-year-old I know, other than my mom, who's older, but we will not disclose what age she is, but she's definitely young for her age. But so we have you as a baby boomer. Then we have my wife and I, we are Gen Xers. Rock and roll, all you Gen Xers out there. And then we have millennials on staff,
Yes.
and those are those in their mid-late 20s. And then we have Gen Zers on staff in their early 20s. So it's quite an amalgamation, a mixture, a potpourri, if you will,
It is.
of people.
Yes.
So tell us about your generation, baby boomers, and then what's it like working with so many other generations in our office space?
Okay. Well, baby boomers, our parents were just returning back from World War II,
Yeah.
and they came back with all the industry that had built up around World War II,
Right.
winning that war. It was a prosperous time.
Hmm.
And they came back and started their families, and we had the big baby boom.
Right.
But they had also experienced the Depression.
Mm.
And so they were great believers in hard work.
Right.
And as we were coming up as kids, they instilled that in us.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would say that my generation is very self-sufficient
Yeah.
and sees ourselves as self-sufficient, not depending on other people to attain our goals in life. We depend on ourselves mostly.
Yeah.
And we got that from our parents. And I think that makes us also effective decision makers, which means we might not necessarily get the decision right,
Yeah, but you're going to make one.
but we're going to
Yeah, that's true. I know that about you, as a matter of fact.
we're going to make a decision.
And most of your decisions are right.
Like you.
Nobody gets it all right every time.
Now, those are all positive things,
Yeah.
but some of the negative that comes with that is that in the workforce, when we look at all the other generations that we're working with, we might equate authority with experience.
Okay.
So if most of the people in the office, all of the people that I work with on staff are younger than me.
Yeah.
So there's a tendency for my generation to see them as younger people, having less experience, not put so much weight into what they have to say. And what I've learned, though, being on staff is those other generations, they may not have the life experience I have, but in different areas of life, they see things differently.
Sure.
They come from a different viewpoint. And so there's so much value that they have that helps me out.
No, it's true. I mean, everybody picks on millennials until you need one to show you how to use your iPhone or show you how to you reboot your computer or whatever, right? Because they were born with a screen in their hand, and they were screenagers. When they were toddlers, they had their own iPads and their own iPhones, which
Yes.
our kids didn't, but that generation stereotypically did. So they're technologically advanced.
Yeah, they're definitely effective with technology, and it comes to them naturally.
Yeah.
Whereas baby boomers, we have had to adapt.
Right.
Which is paddling upstream for most of us.
You do quite well in that, though. You're a learner, and you just get after something that you know you need to know if it's technology, and you figure it out. And you're not afraid to ask for help too. I've noticed.
Yeah, and that's our generations working together.
Yes.
The people on staff, they're more than willing to show if you ask. And so
Yes, they are.
My challenge is to ask.
Right.
But I know that when I do ask, the answer is going to be there, because all the folks on the staff will throw right in and get you what you need.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So what else about boomers would be interesting for us to know?
Well, I think baby boomers, because there were so many of us that came on the scene so quickly, were very competitive. Because the jobs back then, there were lots of people to fill the jobs.
Yeah.
And so I think we have a very competitive nature built into us because of that.
That's interesting.
And that's good, and that can be bad.
Sure.
And so you have to really weigh out the
pros and cons, or the...
Exactly.
Yeah. Recently, the millennials just outnumbered in recent history the boomers. So they are now officially the largest generation in history.
Wow.
And now they're flooding the workplace. So basically right now, there's more millennials in the workplace, on the workforce, than there ever has been before, and they are going to be the dominant generation in the workforce now. So what's another thing interesting about them is that they will have, on average, in their lifetime, 23 different jobs or careers.
Wow.
Whereas maybe someone from your father's generation who is a builder, my grandfather's generation, they were kind of one and done. They would stay at the same company for 30, 40, 50 years.
Exactly. My dad worked for, it was a plant in Mobile called Alcoa, and he worked for them for 43 years. And he wouldn't talk about it a lot, but my mother was the one that mentioned it to me, he worked at that plant for 43 years, never missed one day of work.
Incredible.
And it was one job, 43 years, never missed a day of work. And then at the end of that career, he didn't have a college education. And at the end of that career, industry was changing.
Sure.
Things were changing around him. And his company wanted to put another person in that position because it was evolving. So they came to him and told him they wanted him to train his replacement. So for the last year of his service for Alcoa, he spent training a man 30 years younger than him to take his place.
Who had a college education.
And yet he did it. And
wow. But the guy with no education was training the guy with the education how to do his job. That's interesting. So, but 43 years and didn't miss a day?
Not a day.
Wow. Okay, so can you imagine if you went to your dad and said, Dad, I just need a mental health day today. I need a break. What do you think he would say? Because we hear that a lot. I just need a mental health day from the millennials, from the Gen Zers. Speak to that.
If I went to my dad and said that, it would be a long pause. He would not receive that whatsoever.
He would not receive that well?
Not a bit.
No. So if you asked for a break, he'd give you one, but not the kind you were hoping?
Exactly.
Oh, man. My dad, he's also a boomer, and his dad was like, you're not playing sports in school. We have a farm to run. We have a pulpwood business to keep going. Oh, you have some spare time? Well, then go out and collect some turpentine. We can sell that on the side.
Exactly.
So we got eggs to gather and cows to milk and all these hogs to slaughter. I mean, that's how they lived.
Yeah, exactly.
They were and my dad's a hard worker. My mom, your generation, you are hard workers. I mean, you're part-time on our staff, but you treat it like a full-time job. And that's how you approach it. Is that a generational thing?
I think so. I think our parents, the building generation, I think they instilled that in us and that work ethic.
Yeah, for sure.
And my dad had such a strong work ethic, and I come by it naturally. Yeah, because I saw it in front of me for all those years that we were in the house together, and that is very positive. Yeah, there's a negative side to that though, and that's where I think my generation, for a great part, we take our identity from what we do, not from who we are. And so we can look at our jobs and what jobs we have in life, and we can draw our value from our job. And if our job is highly valued,
Yeah.
then we value ourselves highly.
Wow.
But if our job is lowly valued by society,
Right.
then we lower that value to ourselves. And that's
Interesting.
a great negative.
Okay. So, back to the authority thing we talked about earlier, you said that your generation equates authority with experience. And so, so I am a couple of decades younger than you, but yet I'm your pastor. So how does that work?
Well, for me, all authority comes from God.
Right. That's the right perspective. Yeah.
That is the correct. Yeah, that's the correct perspective. It all comes from God. And so for me, I see you as an authority in my life, in the spiritual aspects of life.
And for me, I look at you as someone who's older than me, and the way I was taught, trained, and raised is just by virtue of your age, I should treat you with a level of respect and honor.
Right.
For no other reason other than because of your age. Now, of course, I have many other reasons to treat you with honor and respect, but if nothing else, because of your chronological age, you've been down the road further than me, for longer than me, and we honor and respect our elders. That's what we were taught.
A lot of people see authority, someone being an authority over them, as a very weak position, as a weak position in some cases. They see you as under someone. That's a weak spot. But actually, if I would take you and me for instance, I voluntarily come under your authority. I chose to put myself under you, just like with Jesus Christ. I voluntarily came under him. I chose that. So really, who is in the seat of power there, a decision of that? I am.
Yeah, it was your decision.
Because it was my decision to come under your authority. So it's not a place of weakness. It's really a place of strength.
That's good.
And everything that you bring and that authority, I get to have that because I put myself underneath you.
You benefit from it.
I benefit greatly.
Just like when you choose to submit your life to Christ, you benefit from his lordship. You benefit from all that he offers. And what he offers is a life that works. What he offers is abundant life.
Amen.
But you didn't have to submit to the lordship of Christ, but you chose to. And that's what makes it so powerful. And there is a tremendous benefit to that. And that's the way the kingdom works. I mean, you can force someone to be in subjection to you, but that's slavery or communism or just fill in the blank, but that's not how the kingdom works. So that's good. So you are doing a great job navigating, working with 3 other younger generations. I commend you for it, but you also interact with builders and people that are in our church that are even the generation before you. We have a very multi-generational church, a very multi-ethnic church, but we're talking about a different kind of diversity, which, by the way, as a staff, we read the book, A New Kind of Diversity by Dr. Tim Elmore, which is a great read. If you work with multiple generations, that's a tremendous resource. My mentor, Jim Weidman, recommended it to us. He coaches us, and if you need a good coach, Jim Weidman, go to jimweidman.com maybe. Anyway, we'll try to put it in the comments below. But anyway, tremendous resource, Dr. Tim Elmore, A New Kind of Diversity. And it's talking about generational diversity that we've been discussing here today. So we're going to try to get my son, who's on staff. He's 22. He's a Gen Zer. We're going to get him on and kind of talk about the same stuff just from his perspective. But any parting thoughts and what advice would you give to people that maybe work in a generationally diverse atmosphere?
The advice I would give you is to be open. Be open to what others bring to the table for their benefit, but selfishly for your own benefit. For me, if I'm open in the workplace, I benefit from all these other different generations. And it's a great benefit because they look at things differently than I do. And it helps enlarge my perspective.
No, that's so good. So it's so important to be teachable.
Yes.
Isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
Coachable.
Coachable, teachable.
Awesome. Good. Thanks, Mike. All right. Hey, thanks for watching and listening. And be sure and like, subscribe, and share. We appreciate you. And we're praying for you that you'll continue or start living a life that works.